Go to a baseball game with me. The past tense of go is went. I went splunking on my holiday. The next word is know. This is an interesting word because know is actually not commonly used in the progressive tense. Know is commonly used in the present tense to refer to your mental or emotional state, so we don't really say, I am knowing, but we can say, I know. I know the answer. What do you know about this issue? He couldn't have possibly known the location of the treasure. How many people do you know? I knew it. The next verb is take. Take a cake. Take a break. Take yourself to bed. You should take a vacation. Have you ever taken a bath? The next word is a see. We'll see. I'll see you later. The next verb is come. Come is the next verb. Please come to my house. Come to a party. I'm going to come over to your place later. The next word is think. Think, I think you're great. He thinks pizza is the best food. I'm thinking about lunch. I'm thinking about coffee. What are you thinking about? I've been thinking about something. That's a Hanson song. Have you ever thought about the meaning of life? Look is the next verb. Please look at the camera. Look over there. Look over here. Look. A dog. Look at your mom. Oh my gosh. Would you look at that? Look at the time. Look. It's a bird. It's a plane. It's actually a bird. Look at that. Hello, everyone. My name is Liba, and today I want to share with you how I learned to speak English. When I started, I was scared. I didn't know many words, and I was worried people would laugh. But I didn't give up. Learning English is like learning to ride a bike. At first, it's hard, and you might fall, but you get better step by step. Mistakes are part of learning. Don't be afraid to make them. When you start, listen to English. The more you listen, the easier it gets. You can listen to songs, movies, or even people talking around you. It will help your brain learn new words without you even trying. Practice is important too. You can practice by yourself or with friends. Talk to yourself in English. It may feel strange, but it helps. Even if you don't know many words, just try to speak. Simple words are enough. I used to think, what if people laugh at me? But then I realized I would never improve if I didn't speak. Most people are kind and will help you, not laugh at you. Don't worry if you make mistakes. When I was learning, I read books out loud. It helped me get used to the words. You can do the same. The more you speak, the better you get. Ask for help when you need it. If you don't know a word, ask. Everyone needs help, and it's okay to ask questions. Believe in yourself. If you think, I can do this, you will. Learning English is like climbing a mountain. You can't jump to the top, but you can take one small step at a time. Remember, the important thing is not how fast you learn, but that you never stop trying. Keep speaking, keep practicing, and one day you will see how far you've come. I know learning English can be hard, but don't give up. Celebrate every little success, like learning a new word or having a small conversation. Each step you take is a victory. You can do it. I believe in you. Keep going, and soon you will be proud of your progress. just like I am today. Chapter 2. When I first started learning English, I made many mistakes, but I didn't stop. I knew that mistakes were part of the process. Each mistake helped me learn. So I kept practicing. I know some of you are afraid of making mistakes, but trust me, it's okay. It's normal to make them. The more mistakes you make, the more you learn. You may feel nervous when you speak in English. Maybe you're scared people will judge you or laugh. I understand that. But remember, people are kind. They want to help you. They don't expect you to be perfect. They just want to understand you. So don't be afraid to speak. The more you speak, the easier it gets. At first, I didn't know many words in English, but I didn't let that stop me. I used simple words to communicate. And guess what? People still understood me. The goal is not to use big words, but to communicate clearly. So, don't worry if your English isn't perfect. Just try your best and people will understand. One thing that helped me a lot was listening. When you listen to English, you learn new words and phrases. You hear how words are pronounced. At first, I didn't understand everything, but I kept listening. Slowly, I started to understand more. You can listen to songs, watch TV shows, or even listen to podcasts. Every time you listen, your brain learns. Another way I improved was by practicing every day. I didn't practice for hours, just a few minutes every day. It's better to practice a little each day than to practice a lot once in a while. Consistency is the key. You don't need to spend hours studying. Just speak or listen for a few minutes every day. Over time, you will see progress. When I practiced, I didn't just focus on speaking. I also practiced reading and writing. Reading helps you learn new words, and writing helps you remember them. I started by reading simple books. At first, it was hard, but I didn't give up. I read every day. Slowly, my vocabulary grew. Writing also helped me. Every night, I would write a few sentences in English about my day. It didn't have to be perfect. The goal was to practice. Writing helps you think in English, and the more you write, the better you get. You can start by writing small sentences. Don't worry if they're not perfect. What's important is that you practice. Write about anything. You can write about your day, your feelings, or what you did. Keep it simple, and soon you'll notice your writing improving. Another way to improve is by speaking with others. Find someone who also wants to learn English, or speak with a friend who speaks English. You can even practice with a teacher. At first, it may feel uncomfortable, but that's normal. Keep speaking, and it will get easier. Don't worry about mistakes. The more you speak, the more confident you will feel. One thing I did was to join an English group. I found a group where people practice speaking English together. It was a little scary at first, but I soon realized that everyone was learning, just like me. We made mistakes, laughed, and helped each other. It was a great way to practice. You can find a group or a partner to practice with, too. Don't be afraid to ask for help. If you don't know a word or a sentence, ask someone. Most people are happy to help you. When I was learning, I asked my friends for help. They corrected my mistakes and taught me new words. Asking questions is a great way to learn. Another thing I learned is that it's important to believe in yourself. If you tell yourself, I can do this, you will. When I started, I didn't think I could speak English well, but I told myself, I can learn this, and I kept going, and you can do the same. Believe in yourself and keep trying. Remember, learning English takes time. Don't expect to speak perfectly right away. It's like learning how to play a sport. At first, you're not good at it, but with practice, you improve. So be patient with yourself. You are learning, and every day you get better. There will be days when you feel frustrated. You might feel like you're not improving, but don't give up. Those days are normal. Keep practicing, and soon you will see progress. Sometimes it takes time, but don't stop. One thing that helped me stay motivated was setting small goals. I didn't try to learn everything at once. I set small goals, like learning 5 new words each day. It felt good to reach those small goals. It made me want to keep going. You can set small goals too. Maybe learn 5 new words or practice speaking for 5 minutes a day. Every time you reach your goal, celebrate it. As you keep learning, you'll see that your English is getting better. You will feel more confident. Don't be afraid to speak, listen, read, or write. The more you do it, the better you will get. And remember, making mistakes is okay. Keep trying, and you will reach your goal. Keep believing in yourself. You are stronger than you think. You can do this. Just take it one step at a time, and soon you will be able to speak English confidently. Chapter 3. When I started learning English, I often felt like I was not improving fast enough. It was frustrating. Some days, I wanted to give up. But I remembered that learning a new language takes time. Just like when you learn to ride a bike, you don't get it right away. You need practice, and slowly, you get better. One thing that helped me was to set small goals. I didn't try to do everything at once. Instead, I focused on one small thing every day. One day, I worked on my pronunciation. The next day, I learned new words. Small steps are easier than big jumps. At first, speaking in English was scary. I was afraid of making mistakes. I thought people would laugh. But then I realized everyone makes mistakes when they learn something new. It's okay to make mistakes. What's important is to keep going. The more you speak, the better you will get. One way I practiced was by speaking to myself. It felt a little strange at first, but it helped. I would talk about my day or ask myself questions. For example, what did I do today? Or, how do I feel? Then I would answer in English. It helped me get comfortable with speaking. You can do the same. It's a great way to practice when no one is around. Another way I learned was by listening. I would watch movies or listen to songs in English. I didn't understand everything at first, but over time, I started to understand more. I learned new words just by hearing them. The more I listened, the easier it became to understand. Listening also helps you learn how words sound. English words are not always pronounced the way they are written. By listening to native speakers, you learn how words are really spoken. This helped me a lot. It made my English sound more natural. You can also practice by reading. Reading books, articles, or even social media in English is a good way to learn new words. I started with simple books, and as I learned, I moved on to harder ones. The more you read, the more words you learn. You can also practice by reading out loud. This helps you improve your pronunciation. Writing also helped me a lot. Every night I wrote a few sentences in English. I didn't worry about making mistakes. I just wrote what I could. The more I wrote, the better I became at putting my thoughts into English. You can write about anything. You can write about your day, your favorite food, or your dreams. It's all about practicing. Sometimes I felt stuck. I would study for hours and still not feel like I was improving. But then I realized that learning English is a journey, not a race. Some days you will move quickly, and other days you will move slowly. But as long as you keep going, you are making progress. When I started, I was shy to speak. I was afraid people wouldn't understand me or that I would say the wrong thing. But the more I spoke, the less I worried. I learned that people don't expect you to be perfect. They just want to understand you. And when you make mistakes, they can help you. One thing that helped me was to find people to practice with. I didn't always have friends who spoke English, so I joined online groups. I met people who were also learning. We helped each other and practiced speaking together. You can find people to practice with too. Look for online groups, or ask your friends if they want to practice together. It's a great way to learn and have fun. If you don't know a word, don't be afraid to ask. I used to be scared to ask for help. But I learned that asking is the best way to learn. Everyone has to ask questions when they don't know something, and when you ask, you get better. As you learn, you will start to feel more confident. At first, you may feel nervous when you speak, but over time, that feeling goes away. The more you practice, the more natural it feels. One day, you will be able to speak without thinking too much about it. You don't need to know every word to speak well. Even if you don't know the perfect word, just use the words you know. People will still understand you. And when you don't know a word, you can use other words to explain it. For example, if you don't know the word apple, you can say, "It's a round fruit, and it's red or green." Another thing I learned is to be patient with myself. Sometimes I wanted to speak perfectly, but I had to remember that learning takes time. It's okay to make mistakes. What matters is that you keep going. Every mistake is a chance to learn. Learning English isn't just about memorizing words. It's about understanding how to use those words to express yourself. It's about being able to talk to people, share your ideas, and connect with others. And when you practice every day, you will get better at doing that. There will be times when you feel frustrated. You may feel like you're not improving. But remember, even small progress is still progress. Keep practicing, and one day you will look back and be amazed at how far you've come. Believe in yourself. You can do this. Every small step you take brings you closer to your goal. So keep learning, keep speaking, and one day you will be able to speak English with confidence. Keep going, and you will get there. Chapter 4. When I first started learning English, I was always thinking about how hard it was. I thought, this is too difficult. I will never get better. But I didn't stop. I kept trying every day. Slowly, I started to see small changes. The more I practiced the easier it became. One thing I learned was that it's important to practice every day, even if it's just for a little while. I didn't spend hours studying, but I practiced every day. Even 10 minutes of speaking, listening, or writing helped me a lot. It's okay if you don't have much time. You don't need to study for hours. What matters is that you keep going. If you practice a little every day, it adds up over time. This is how you will improve. When I was learning, I made many mistakes. Sometimes I would forget words. Sometimes I would say the wrong thing. But I didn't let that stop me. Every time I made a mistake, I learned something new. I used to be afraid of mistakes, but now I know they are a part of learning. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. If you don't make mistakes, you can't learn. Mistakes are how we grow. I always remind myself that no one is perfect, and that includes learning English. One way I practiced was by repeating what I heard. If I listened to a song or watched a video in English, I would repeat the words out loud. It helped me improve my pronunciation. It also helped me remember the words better. You can try this too. Find something in English you like and repeat the words. Another way I got better was by reading out loud. When I read in English, I tried to say the words clearly. This helped me practice speaking. It also helped me feel more confident. The more I read out loud, the easier it became to speak in English. One of the hardest things for me was understanding fast English. Sometimes people speak quickly, and I don't understand everything. At first, this made me feel frustrated, but I didn't give up. I kept listening to fast English, and little by little, I started to understand more. If you don't understand everything at first, don't worry. It takes time. Just keep listening, and eventually you will understand more. Even if you don't understand every word, you can still get the main idea. I also learned that it's important to stay positive. When I felt like giving up, I reminded myself of how much I had already learned. I looked back at my progress. Maybe I couldn't speak perfectly, but I could understand more and communicate better than before. The key to learning English is to stay positive. Don't focus on what you can't do. Focus on what you can do. Celebrate every small victory, like learning a new word or saying a sentence without making a mistake. As I learned, I also found that it helped to think in English. At first, I translated from my language to English in my head, but over time, I started thinking in English. It made speaking and understanding much easier. Thinking in English doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, but you can practice it. Start by thinking simple thoughts in English. For example, if you're hungry, think, "I'm hungry" in English. Or if you're going to the store, think, "I'm going to the store." The more you do this, the easier it becomes. Sometimes I felt bored or tired of learning, but I kept reminding myself of why I wanted to learn. I wanted to speak English because it would open up new opportunities for me. I wanted to connect with people from different countries. I wanted to travel and experience the world. Keep your goals in mind. Think about why you want to learn English. Maybe you want to travel, meet new people, or get a better job. Whatever your reason is, hold on to it. Your reason will keep you going when things get tough. It also helped me to talk to people who were also learning English. We could share our struggles and encourage each other. Learning with others makes it more fun. You can find a friend or join a group where people practice English together. If you make a mistake, don't be afraid to ask for help. When I didn't know how to say something, I would ask my friends. They were happy to help me. Asking for help is a good way to learn. Remember, no one expects you to speak perfectly. People just want to understand you. It's okay if you make mistakes. What matters is that you keep speaking and practicing. The more you speak, the better you get. There were times when I felt discouraged, but I didn't stop. I kept going, even when I felt frustrated. And now I can speak English more confidently. I can understand people better. It wasn't easy, but it was worth it. So, if you feel tired or frustrated, don't give up. Take a break if you need to, but don't stop. You are learning, and every day you are getting better. Keep going, and one day you will see how much you've improved. I believe in you. You can do this. Keep practicing, stay positive, and never give up. You are stronger than you think. Chapter 5. Learning English is a journey. Sometimes it feels easy. Other times it feels hard. But every step you take, you are getting better. I remember feeling lost many times. I didn't understand everything. I didn't know all the words. But I kept going. I knew that every day I practiced, I was getting closer to my goal. One thing that helped me a lot was listening to English every day. I didn't always understand, but I kept listening. I would listen to songs, watch videos, or even listen to the radio. The more I listened, the more I started to understand. At first, I couldn't catch every word, but over time, it became easier. You don't need to understand everything. It's okay if you don't know some words. The important thing is to keep listening. Even when you don't understand, your brain is learning. Over time, you will start to hear and understand more. I also practice my speaking by talking to myself. I know it might sound strange, but it worked. I would talk about anything, my day, my feelings, or something I wanted to learn. I didn't care if I made mistakes. The important thing was that I was speaking. The more I spoke, the easier it became. It's also good to talk to others who are learning. If you don't have anyone to speak with, try finding people online. There are many groups where you can practice English. It's important to practice with others, even if you make mistakes. You will get better by speaking. It doesn't matter if you speak perfectly. What matters is that you try. Another thing that helped me was reading books in English. At first, I only read simple books, but as I learned more, I started reading harder books. I didn't always know every word, but I could guess the meaning from the story. This helped me learn new words and understand them better. Reading out loud also helped me practice speaking. When I read, I would say the words out loud. It made me feel more confident. It also helped me improve my pronunciation. The more I practiced reading, the better I got at speaking. It's okay to take your time when learning. You don't need to rush. Learning takes time. Some days will be easy. Other days will be hard. But as long as you keep practicing, you will get better. Even small progress is still progress. One thing I learned is that mistakes are not bad. In fact, they are good. Every mistake is a chance to learn. I used to be afraid of making mistakes, but now I know that making mistakes helps me grow. When I made a mistake, I didn't feel bad. I just tried to remember the correct way. The next time, I was better. I also learned that it's okay to ask for help. Sometimes I didn't understand something and I was afraid to ask. But I learned that asking is part of learning. If you don't know something, it's okay to ask. It's better to ask and learn than to stay confused. People are happy to help, and it's a good way to get better. One thing that helped me stay motivated was to set small goals. Every day, I would focus on one thing I wanted to learn. Maybe it was a new word or a new sentence. Maybe it was something I wanted to practice, like listening or speaking. When I reached my goal, I felt proud. Even small goals are important. They help you stay on track. I also learned that it's important to be patient with yourself. Learning a language is not easy. Sometimes you will feel frustrated. Sometimes you will feel like you are not improving. But remember, it takes time. Be patient. Keep practicing, and you will see progress. When I felt discouraged, I would think about how far I had come. I would remember how I felt when I first started. At that time, I didn't know many words. Now, I could speak more clearly and understand more. This reminded me that learning English is a process, and every day I learned something new. Sometimes, it's easy to forget how much you've learned. But when you look back, you can see how far you've come. Even small progress is important. Every new word you learn is a step forward. Every time you speak, you are improving. If you ever feel like giving up, just remember why you started. Think about how speaking English will help you in the future. Maybe you want to travel. Maybe you want to talk to new people. Whatever your reason is, keep it in your mind. It will help you keep going. When I was learning, I sometimes wanted to give up. But I kept going because I knew it was worth it. Now, I can speak English more easily. I can understand more. I feel more confident. It wasn't easy, but I didn't give up. And now I can speak English well enough to connect with people from all over the world. So, don't give up. Keep practicing. You are learning every day. You are getting better, step by step. It might take time, but you will get there. Believe in yourself. You can do it. Every time you speak, every time you listen, you are improving. Just keep going. Chapter 6. When I was learning English, I often felt scared. I was afraid of making mistakes. I didn't want people to laugh at me. But then I realized something very important. Making mistakes is part of learning. If you never make mistakes, you can never learn. The more mistakes I made, the more I learned. At first, I couldn't understand a lot of things. I didn't know many words, and sometimes I couldn't find the right words to say. But every time I practiced, it got better. Slowly, my vocabulary grew. Slowly, my speaking became smoother. I knew that if I kept practicing, I would improve. One thing that helped me was listening to English every day. It didn't matter what it was: songs, movies, TV shows, or even podcasts. I would listen carefully, even if I didn't understand everything. The more I listened, the more my brain started to understand. Listening is a great way to improve because it helps you get used to how English sounds. Sometimes I didn't know the meaning of some words, but that was okay. I would try to guess the meaning from the sentence or the situation. If I couldn't guess, I would look it up. Over time, I learned many new words. It's important not to feel bad if you don't know a word. You can always learn it later. Reading also helped me. At first, I read simple books, but as I learned more, I started reading harder books. It wasn't easy, but it helped me learn new words and improve my understanding of the language. I didn't worry if I didn't understand every word. I focused on the story or the main idea. That's what's important. If you don't understand every word, it's okay. What matters is understanding the message. Speaking is another big part of learning English. I used to be scared to speak. I was afraid I would make mistakes. But I pushed myself to speak anyway. I started with simple sentences. I practiced speaking to myself, and then I practiced with friends. I didn't care if it wasn't perfect. The more I spoke, the easier it became. And the more I spoke, the better my confidence grew. One of the best ways to practice speaking is to find someone to talk to. If you don't know anyone who speaks English, you can talk to yourself. You can also practice with language apps, or you can find people online. Talking to others is a great way to practice because it forces you to think and respond in English. Sometimes, I still feel nervous about speaking, but I remind myself that everyone makes mistakes. Even people who speak English well make mistakes. The important thing is to keep trying. You won't get better if you don't speak. So, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Another thing that helped me was writing. I kept a small journal where I wrote every day. It didn't matter what I wrote about. I just practiced writing in English. At first, my sentences were short and simple, but over time, they became longer and better. Writing helped me think in English. It also helped me learn how to organize my thoughts in English. You don't have to write a lot. Even writing just a few sentences every day can help. It's a good way to practice because it helps you remember words and grammar. If you don't know how to say something, you can always look it up. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Just write. The more you write, the better you will get. When I was learning, I found it helpful to set small goals. Instead of trying to speak perfect English right away, I focused on small goals. Maybe one day, my goal was to learn 10 new words. The next day, my goal was to use those words in sentences. Each time I reached a goal, I felt proud. It helped me stay motivated. Setting goals is important because it gives you something to work toward. But remember, don't be too hard on yourself. If you don't reach a goal, it's okay. Just try again tomorrow. Every day is a new chance to learn. Another thing that helped me was finding a language partner. This is someone who is also learning English, or maybe someone who speaks English and can help you. We would talk together, correct each other's mistakes, and encourage each other. Learning with a partner makes the process more fun. It also helps you stay motivated because you both share the same goal. If you don't have a partner, it's still okay. There are many ways to practice. You can find people online, or you can practice with a friend. The important thing is to practice every day. The more you practice, the better you will get. I also found that watching movies or TV shows in English was helpful. I would watch them with subtitles so I could see the words. It helped me understand how English sounds and how it is used in real life. Sometimes I would watch the same show or movie more than once. Each time I would understand more and more. It's important to enjoy learning. If you enjoy what you are doing, it won't feel like work. Try to find things that interest you, like movies, songs, or books. If you enjoy them, you will want to practice more. The more you enjoy learning, the faster you will improve. Finally, remember to be patient with yourself. Learning English takes time. You won't become perfect overnight, but that's okay. The important thing is to keep going. Don't stop. Every day, you are getting better. Even when it's hard, keep trying. One day, you will look back and see how much you've learned. Learning English is a journey. It takes time, but it's worth it. Keep practicing, stay positive, and never give up. You can do it.